welcome to German Meltdown with unfortunately tragic news from the quiet Bavarian town of Aschaffenburg. Two innocent people were savagely stabbed on broad daylight by what can only be described as a typical suspect. The attack happened yesterday at noon when a kindergarten group was walking through a park. The perpetrator had apparently been watching the group before launching an unprovoked attack, killing a 2-year-old boy. Another boy is currently fighting for his life. 41-year-old man was also brutally stabbed while trying to stop the attacker. And several others are partly severely injured, including other children. Recently, a television report covered the park where the atrocity occurred. A police officer was interviewed, casually stating that while the area might be dangerous, there's no real threat to life and limb.
Schöntal Park in Aschaffenburg is now a so-called dangerous place under police law. Many people no longer feel safe there. The number of crimes has also risen. But one thing is very important for Aschaffenburg's police chief, Frank Eckhart, to communicate.
First of all, I think this terminology is very unfortunate. It does not mean that it is dangerous for the people who pass through here, that they have to fear for life or limb. Danger according to the Police Duties Act is also a danger to the legal order, which means that laws are being broken. There have been a few cases of drug dealing, assault, weapons offenses, and robberies, but I have to make it clear that these were not committed against innocent bystanders, but within the milieu.
Well, officer, I have to wonder, would you stand by those words now? Or are they just joking you as you realize just how grotesquely detached from reality you sounded? Were those kids just bystanders? Drug dealing, assault, weapons offenses, and robberies. It sounds like a normal thing nowadays in every small and medium-sized town. Well, thank God we have the police. Meanwhile, the same tired nonsense is churned out just like after the recent terrorist attacks in Mannheim, Solingen, and Magdeburg. Politicians and media alike are scrambling to outdo each other, vomiting their hollow hypocrisy over the masses. They don't even realize anymore how blatantly they insult, well no, they mock. They mock the German people. Every useless politician who has rank and name is now coming up with ChatGPT-like phrases and hackneyed condolences. Take this gem from Julia Glöckner, one of the most senior women in the CDU Bundestag. Her sole thought on the matter? Well, of course, to remind us that once again it was a man that committed the crime, not a woman. Well, who'd have thought? Oh really, Julia? And how, pray tell, could it possibly have been a woman when 90% of your golden pieces of flooding this country illegally are young men? Men who seem to have had plenty of training in stabbing innocent people precisely in the throat out of a sheer hatred, like it's their daily business. Next up, the Bavarian Broadcasting Corporation. Yes, the same garbage we are all forced to fund with our money. One reporter described the attack as interesting and exciting.
A 3-year-old child died. It is an interesting and exciting, and I would say rather unusual case for Aschaffenburg. We are a town of 60,000 inhabitants, and something like this has never happened in our town before.
Exciting, you say? Is it really exciting for the quiet little town of Aschaffenburg to finally experience some action? You, madam reporter, come across as someone struggling to find words, yet you had no problem rambling on about how the AfD is already holding rallies nearby to exploit the attack. Who's doing the exploiting here exactly? Julia Glöckner? Are you? And let's not forget how your beloved taxpayer-funded broadcaster, the Norddeutsche Rundfunk, in this case, reacts to comments about this atrocity. Someone rightly asked, how about dealing with the stabbers, drug dealers, murderers, and rapists? The response? A bloody yawning emoji. Another commenter suggested discussing the gang rapes and migrant criminality among those we so graciously welcomed. And again, the response? Another damn yawning emoji. Had these people completely lost their minds? This level of disrespect, this utter lack of decency. And let's just call it what it is. A racism consumed by self-hatred towards one's own German population. It is no longer acceptable. And the murderer? Of course he's from Afghanistan. It's always one of those countries. Naturally, he should have been deported long ago. And naturally, he was already known to the police. And naturally, he was psychologically troubled. Of course, naturally, he has also been committed to a psychological institution several times and then released again. Well, congratulations! We almost got a full house on our bullshit bingo. Tell me, how can any dim-witted ideologue who thinks it's his mission to stab innocent children in broad daylight be considered mentally stable in the Western world? And what's become tradition? In Germany, after such horrific acts by illegal immigrants? Well, of course! A cozy little demonstration against the far right. Promoted by the mainstream media and all the unified undemocratic political parties. Don't believe me? Here's a video from Magdeburg after the Christmas market attack. Don't believe? Here's another one from, you guessed it, Aschaffenburg, just days after the Christmas attack in Magdeburg. Take a look at the city council distribution in Aschaffenburg since 2020. The people got what they voted for. I am sorry to say that. SPD 12 seats, the Greens 9 seats, FDP 2 seats. These parties have done nothing to stop this madness. They rather have accelerated and funded this invasion. The CSU, sister party of the CDU, which opened the borders in 2015, started this disaster and carried it through. And look how many seats the AfD, the only party which is at least trying to do something here. Well, the CDU, they want their power back and they probably will gain it back. What more do you need, Germany? How many children must die? How many brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, grandmas and grandpas must be brutally slaughtered, raped and abused before this sheepish population wakes up? And here's the current projection for the 2025 federal election coming up in February. Well, I fear much more will need to happen before the scales finally fall from their eyes. Keep that in mind. See you later.